As there was Orr in the 30 in the third spot, back to fourth, and
there
just
you see
slid
it
up the track. And when he tried to steer off of Brooks Store, car got free, rear end came around, and nothing he could do to save it and keep it off the wall. And all he tried to do there was avoid hitting Store.
And how about our NBC Sports Gold cameras picking that up? Because what we saw was just out of the frame, and we didn't know if he might have, caught that inside of the apron there. But you see, as you said, the car pushed up. He has those wheels cranked hard to the left, and he just got into Brooks Store a little bit, and that was enough to push the front end of the car on around and send him spinning.
And Dunn took down one of the banners that were along the inside retaining wall as just went up the track. And if he made any contact with the 9, it was very, very slight. He was trying as hard as he could to steer away from the 9 as the car pushed up the banking and around it went. And he was able to get it slowed down some, but that's still a hard hit to the right rear. And definitely Callis in the 148. We're underway. You see him spinning the tires a bit. Trouble back in the field. David Rogers backs it into the wall. Heavy damage to the rear clip of the 11 car. And some fire along the wall as well, so I would assume some fuel has been spilled up on the edge of the wall.
Well, you imagine that car was packed full of fuel, and if you look at the
infield as the car stopped, and now the replay, and some contact behind the 12 of Cassot is actually what turned him down into the 11 of Rogers. So Rogers had no idea what was about to hit him.
Nah.
It was Cassot getting hit from the rear end that turned him into David Rogers.
And it's hard to...
It was the 01 of Vincent Staggs.
You're exactly right. It's the 01 of Vincent Staggs.
He just got into the back of Cassot, and it turned him to the inside, and nowhere for David Rogers to go. Terrible break.
Now, I don't, at the speed they were at that point, I do not believe that Cassot spun the tires. Now, could he have missed a shift or had the 01 of Staggs just got a better start than him? I don't know.
When you're looking at Cassot in the 12.
It's on a 500 winner, and you see the 21 got down on the apron right there, and it upset the car. And, had all of these cars not been so close together, maybe Ryan Moore in that 74 gathers it back in. And Augie Grill just caught him in the rear there, and then pretty hard contact, a lot harder than I thought there for Trey Bain. Check this out. Whoa, right at the camera.
Great shots.
Not how you want to get to look at our replay out of turn number 4. Byer gets sideways, and man, oh man, all 4 tires off the ground of that 75 car. Here it comes. Look at this, right at the camera. Great job by our shooter, Kyler Hope, down there. Man, and that is a concrete wall, folks. And thank goodness that wasn't even more serious. And just as soon as we got an update on Mike Byer.
Taking a look at the replay of what happened down here in the corner. 3 wide going into the third turn, and Augie just got into
he locked it up.
15 of Moore. And Timmy Moore, were you, Stacy? We were watching them go down into the corner. Behind them, Springer closed the door on Bruns. Just nowhere for Bruns to go, and Springer didn't know that Bruns was there, most likely.
No, and if you look from this angle here in turn number 1, watch the 61 car, because he's going to try to turn down underneath the 6 of Stacy, and when he does that, I don't think he knew Alan Bruns was there and just came down on him, and back behind them, those.
And he sends it in deep. I was amazed at all the stuff that fell off that car. It ripped the whole rear bumper cover off. I think it was made of glass. Wiped the whole thing off.
Or maybe that was just paint.
Bit of a restart.
And see, Nolan goes up into the 28.
He was kind of already into the 5 at the same time, kind of simultaneously. Artuso hitting the barrels, and then the 76 of Johnson. I don't think Johnson's car is going to be all that bad. Not good. He's got some damage, no doubt. This is the view here.
Who do you put that on, though?
Jet Nolan. I mean, he just used up a lot of lanes.
Now watch the tire or the barrel here with his truck.
Boom. And the guy was standing on the edge of the bed of the truck and just got missed by the barrel. I mean,
but he did hold his beer.
That almost did take his legs out. We need to stay with that view from Jeff Christensen down in turn 1. to where you can see the reaction on the guy's face, like he just hit my truck with a barrel. His face, the look of life came out of his face.
Yeah.
And fortunately, again, we kind of make light of it to a degree, but a scary moment for him, I'm sure. But I think he was
We're gonna
more
see it
upset
right here.
than anything just about the truck getting hit.
So there you see Skinner go up into the outside wall, and watch the white 5 here on the bottom. He gets into the inside of the 16-car Gio
Selzy did a heck of a job to get through there, too.
Hits the barrel.
Watch the
guy's not
standing
even
here.
He's not even paying attention. Whoop!
Wow.
Oh, and he's standing on the edge of the truck too.
Yeah.
He's not even in the bed.
Now, when he gets down, then he looks back. Up.
Yep.
Held his beer.
Good form.
Very good. Stuck the landing. Now what? This guy here. Look at.
Yeah, he's like.
Keep going.
Did you see that?
The look of disgust. This is his truck. I think that's his
It's
truck.
not even the guy that.
Yeah, not the guy that fell down. Yeah, the other. That's his truck right there. Play. Got into the corner a little hot, spun it sideways, down, and would have saved it, but nowhere to go for Matthew Green.
Yeah.
And he gets punted by the 77 of Thomas, who, again, had nowhere to go.
Yeah.
And fortunately, everyone behind him did a good job to avoid those in front and avoid any hard crashes.
Yeah, it looked like Struble just washed up a little bit with Jesse Henley up to his outside and kind of pitched the car sideways and as tight as. Get the replay here. There you see Staggs and Nolan to his inside.
And Nolan's getting the black flag for going to the inside of a lap car that had moved to the inside as being instructed. And when he did so, he gets charged for rough driving.
And that's going to collect Anthony Sergi there. Whoa! What?
Jess Garcia able to make it through. Jake
Look at
Garcia
that.
somehow made it through there.
And you see this behind Jesse Love.
Jesse Love sees the white flag, final lap, hard hit into the wall, back in the field, still into the wall. C continues to slide along the outside retaining wall. Green still out because he.
And Justin Mondyke, and here at the finish line, Kyle C rode the wall. Red car.
Yeah, what happens is Parker checks up, and when Parker checked up, then Burba had to jam on the brakes.
Whoa.
And then here comes Galen Price.
I see what he was trying to do now. He was actually up on the high side and tried to cut it down low, so he wasn't as far back as I thought. Bill Burba in that red car, he
it
smokes
was Wayne
the tires.
Parker that kind of checked up, and then obviously the 29, he tried to lock him up to avoid it and slid right into it, and that was a hard hit. Here's a slow-mo look at our replay, and Timmy Moore, they check up on the outside too, and Timmy Moore got checked up, hit the brakes, and it spun sideways. Stacy did a good job to avoid, to be quite honest. Locked it up, spun it out. He's in good shape, and all of a sudden,
here comes Galen Price.
I think for the most part, Stacy's got some damage on the 6, but I don't think it's going to be anything that takes him out for the week. They would have all been okay except the 29 came piling in. The 19, first night out for the night, knocked up the tires a little bit.
The racetrack.
And then he comes down and nowhere to go for the 12, who was already on the outside, and that's Scooter Bates. And Bates takes him around. Racing deal.
Yeah, racing deal. There was nothing there that Scooter Bufflin, Ty Gibbs. Going to be a good field of cars here as Dario Capercio looked like he made contact right there prior to getting to the start-finish line, and when he did that, he either cut that right front tire down or broke something into suspension. And then, as you said, Adam, he did make some hard contact with that turn 1 wall.
Wouldn't turn once he
back straightaway into turn 3 as we take a look on our track pass replay. And you see Skinner there again. He just kind of goes up and sideswipes Hunter Wright, and then the 43 car was down on the inside. Another look here.
And he would have been able to keep it off the wall, but Daniel Dye was already there, so he bounced off of Daniel Dye, and that's what shot him back up the track.
There's the contact in turn 4, and as Dye tries to work his way around, and again, no fault of Dye. He's just trying to stay out of the wreck.
As he said tonight, he said, 2 cars are faster. I don't think he was talking about the 29. I think he was talking about the 50 and the 5. He said, but I'm going to end up in victory lane because there's going to be a wreck. Well, there's a wreck. It's a different person that gets in the wall, and it was a hard hit for Hunter Wright.
Good job for Brad Cosso, too, in that 12 car to avoid. He's having a good run so far today. He could hit that outside wall just like we've seen here. Now caution's back out. Casso up the racetrack.
He got a little free on him, I think, before they hit. The back end started to come around, and that took the two drivers out when the rear end came out from underneath the 12.
Good job by young Hayden Sprague again in this car number 51 back behind them. Watch him. I mean, it looks like he's going to drill one of those cars right in the door.
Found the opening, scooted right by. Right around the halfway mark of the race, 17 complete, 18 laps to go. Good run tonight in the 51 car, but having an even better run. Oh, contact from Selzy. Selzy moves him over. Oh, here comes Holt.
Whoa, look at this.
And Noggle down into the inside wall. Nicholas Noggle with damage on the left side of the race car, and that's going to bring out the yellow.
Here they come, and you see Halter will turn the 9 car down left. But
and
when
he checks up.
Yep, and the 08 gets into the back of him. Off the ground goes Noggle.
Daniel Dye able to squeeze through. It's going to help him pick up a couple spots.
I think these guys are going to need that extra day, Adam.
Yeah, the Pro-Lates, really probably the roughest race of the week for the Pro-Lates. We've seen a lot of green flag racing for this class. Now, obviously, that one crash on a restart last night tore up some cars.
All right, here's a different angle. And you see, again, Halter tries to steer away, but then he gets caught in the right rear by Noggle. And there's just not a whole lot you can do from there. And Noggle really got into that inside wall pretty good, rode up on it a little. And I'll give it, and again, they make contact. They make a lot of contact in the turn. This is exactly what we saw last night going into turn 1.
This is where it happened. Oh, we've got the 73 car slowing. 76 of Jarek Johnson.
Wow, and he gets
down
spun.
in the corner. There it was. Skinner makes the contact with Jet Noland. And a hard impact with the wall in turn number 3. Had a near mishap and almost a yellow for another car. They door each other there.
And I think this is right after this is on the restart.
So we're a lap away from where it happened.
Yeah. And, you know, the one thing I'll give to Nolan is he was definitely not afraid.
Skinner got into him a little bit. It looks like he turned left going down the straightaway there.
Now watch
now
this.
He clears them. And then Skinner gets behind him and dumps him.
Ow.
And hits the wall hard.
That is a hard impact. You'll see Skinner is going to turn down here in the 5, and when he does, he gets into the back of the 50, who was getting out of the gas. Gosh, look at the rear end on that 50. The tires and axle move around when that car hit the wall. And, I mean, that car's destroyed.
Done.
Yeah. Or when Jamie Skinner got into Brad Casso.
And it turned him around when he got into the left rear. Casso able to save it, but.
And there's the other angle.
Yep. Good job by our camera crew.
Now let's see what happened here.
Yeah, he was on the outside of Chuck Tuck.
Boy, he hit that outside wall hard there, and then I think there's Chuck Tuck getting into the wall.
And then obviously it's not going to turn down here.
You knew that was going to be
like
bad.
That earlier, knocking off the right front.
Chuck Tuck and roll.
As Chuck Tuck had his best.
Chuck Tuck and not rolling. Yeah.
Veteran driver. One of our older competitors here at the World Series, making his way back to the pits. And got to be frustrating because, again, he had a good run going on tonight.
At least he's good-natured about it. You know, when you got to take the hood back to the pit area, it's probably not been a real good night. So let's see what happened going down into turn number 1. And Rose went up the racetrack, caught Johnson.
And Jarek Johnson and Christian Rose.
They made a little contact there, and then going back into turn number 1.
Yeah, he just pushed way up the track, like the car wouldn't turn, and kind of 1 lap to go for Connor Mosack. And Hayden Sprague. Sprague is there. He looks to the inside, coming off of turn 2 as they race to 3.
Down the back straightaway here for the final time into turn number 3. Sprague's going to go for it. He gets into the back of Mosack. Around goes Mosack. He's going to go down pit lane. Hayden Sprague will take the checkered flag over Gio Selzy.
Mosack turning back out onto the racetrack to get moving again, and pretty fitting of a finish. They didn't go.
Turns 1 and 2. 2 cars to the bottom of the racetrack.
Joe DeGracia, one of those cars over there, Ben. It looks like the 14, Brock Brown, also involved. The 23 got hit hard over there in turn number 1 to bring out the event's first caution with just 1 lap complete. So tough break. Not the way that those drivers wanted to start the World Series. DeGracia took a huge shot over there as we got.
This is real time, folks, as you see that battle for third coming off of turn 4. McLaughlin needing all of the racetrack right there, and unfortunately, Mason Diaz was right there where Max McLaughlin needed to be. Diaz pushed Tanner Gray up into the fence, and Gray up onto his side. There you see those cars coming together, going off into 3, and they're going to come together coming off of 4, and boom, right there, up on his side. Tanner Gray, big-time hit there in the number 17. Tanner had a great run going over at Daytona. This is right there up on the side. That is real time from Speedy Cam down off of turn 4. And let's take a look at the camera shot right there under the start finish line. This is a little bit further down the racetrack, and you see the whole thing play out here as they grind to a halt right there, coming to a stop. And there you see a very unhappy young man inside the cockpit of that number 17 Ford. Tanner.
Saying we got a problem. Looks like the 4 of Alan Brunson. He's got some damage on the nose there, Adam. Because you and I were, you were here, I was not. So I think anybody would have thought he would sweep the first couple of nights. And there you see Bertuccio just slam the wall there, trying to avoid those cars that had spun in front of him.
Priest and Emmerling looked like the 2 that were going around, and here they are.
They had, Emmerling had already gone around, and then you see all these cars just kind of slamming on brakes, stacking
and
up.
Priest was up the track further this way and had gone around as well.
And Bertuccio, after he slammed that wall in turn 4, you know, he locked him up, had no control of that car whenever he went into the outside wall. But he did a good job there of steering it off the wall and not making contact with Ryan Priest, who was just sitting right there in the middle of the racetrack. Watch Bertuccio here, and a couple of cars get together. He got into the back of Dave Sapienza,
and that's what sent him hard into the outside retaining wall. Didn't look to be much damage on the left front, but it, I think, caused him to jump to the right and slamming that wall. And you can see some pretty good damage on the left rear of the race car, which he clipped. So
England, as they came out of turn 4, and it looked like maybe he just missed a gear.
Didn't get up to speed, and he got some contact from behind.
I think Jesse Love is the car that started behind him, and it was Jesse Love. Watch here out of turn 4.
Yeah, just nowhere to go. He tried to turn left to get around him, but it was too late. And the car looks like it held up pretty good on the nose of Love. The and Nassi both coming through the field. Look at the replay.
Whoops.
And there was Sammy Smith in the 51. Didn't see what originally started it, but caught the contact between.
Here they came out of turn 4. Look at this.
Like I said, if he applies pressure, we've seen Majeski be on edge, and that's exactly what happened there.
And unfortunately for Griffith, we're going to go back to the last completed lap. Now, what already a problem there for Garcia. He never hit the wall. It was the brace that came down on his car.
Mm-hmm.
And you could see that right front fender just collapse.
And it makes it impossible to turn.
Yeah. Now, Majeski, he hit that wall at least 3 times.
What a great shot. Nolan running on the inside of Brad May for a spot. He gets just a slight contact to May, and then when he checks up, Grill was all over him. David Rogers, that's where he slid through. He was on the inside of another car.
You see Sammy Smith got into the back of Grill.
Boy, that was close for David Rogers. What a good job.
It actually, we didn't see it on the other angle, but the real. Let's see as they go down into turn number 1 here on the replay. Ooh, big contact there with Christian Rose, and watch this, Adam. Not going to be good.
Oof. Hard hit, destroying the rear end of that race car for
car right here. And, I mean, that is not good for that suspension at all. the way that tire come up. And, you know, again,
We have our first yellow flag, and it's Van Houten in the 09.
we understand Rivkema was black flagged for fluid, and maybe some drivers getting caught up in that fluid. Anthony Cecily around here in the 16 car, and a caution out with 14 laps to go.
Oh, boy. I'm not so sure that Hirschman needed a yellow, and I'm not so sure that Blewett wanted to see a yellow. 14 laps to go, and Hirschman was running down Blewett quickly.
A little early for burnouts. Whoa, and we didn't see David Rogers.
And
but
there was the cause of our yellow.
And looks like he knocked the barrel down. Luckily, the red truck was not there to stop it tonight. Can't really tell as she made the contact. It almost looked like she might have had the problem before she ever hit the wall, because it really didn't look.
On the track, not a good combination as we take a look here. Ooh, they got 3 wides as Meserve got into the left rear of Rivkema, and boy, oh boy, lucky that wasn't a much bigger crash out there.
There was a lot of contact being made, but the way it worked out, nobody got into the wall. It was so close. The car that was really going to hit hard into the wall, I think, if he wasn't up on another car, was the 21 of Gavick back there.
Looks like Tommy Catalano, at least from that angle, I don't know how he managed to miss it. It looks like he just kept his foot in it. He swung around the outside. Let's take a look at the slow-mo here.
Yeah, Meserve got up into the side of Rivkema, and then all heck broke loose.
Boy, Catalano, he might have gotten a shot in the Nerf bar. He somehow kept it off the wall.
They made it just wide enough up there.
Yeah, some great driving by Tommy Catalano out there, as we see where Anthony Cecily got the damage to his car.
As Ebersol's taking the lead, giving room, and it's getting tighter, and Ebersol maybe just squeezing the 21. There wasn't a lot of room on the outside of the 21, I don't think, of Blewett. Now, we'll get a better angle here. This will show even more. Down the front stretch, he's holding his lane. He's up against the wall. He couldn't go any higher. And Ebersol just kind of turned right just far enough where they wheeled tires. And actually, you could see Blewett getting closer and closer to the walls. We watched slow-mo. Watch where Blewett is. Going higher, he knows he's getting squeezed. He goes higher, and he's up against the wall and just nowhere to go, and Ebersol closes the door. Great shots by our crew here on Track Pass on NBC Sports Gold. Couldn't get any better.
Yeah, Jeff Christensen giving us these shots up on the stand in turn 1. Tell you what, Blewett lucky to keep it off the wall there, and he has not.
Looking back in the field, last lap, there's the crash by the 22. Pennsylvania driver winning the Richie Evans Memorial is Matt Hirschman. A spin in turn number 4 as the rest of the drivers cross the line at the finish. Down and out of the way is the 36 car of David Sapienza. He goes into the water barrels. Could see a little squirt out of one of the barrels at the end of the pit wall area. He'll pull away with very little damage done as this race comes to an end.
Capuriccio had some sort of mechanical problem, but look, that car goes straight and then right into turn 1 and right into the left side door of Daniel Dye.
Terrible break, and he had a good race car, was leading, had led since the
Tanner Gray in the Arc Menard Series race. You're right, there is a little bit of contact there, and if nothing else, I'll own up. I think Garcia was probably having to chase the car up the racetrack just a little bit right there, and he's got Augie Grill to his outside and kind of caught him in the right rear, so
it's one of those deals where no harm is done if Augie Grill isn't in the wrong place, and he's doing nothing wrong out there.
Watch Garcia's
work the wheel,
he's still working it, and the car's actually pushing at that point.
Right.
So my apologies to Jake Garcia and his spotter, because that's just a racing deal.
So,
but a bad one for Augie Grill.
just tough break for Augie Grill, and
he's chasing the car up right there. And to me, it looked like he didn't realize that Augie Grill was up to his outside, and he just kept going up. Whereas
hit from the number 2 of Duke, driver moving around in the car and drops the window net, but that was a hard hit.
And then back behind these cars, there you see at the right, it just looks like she got a little bit loose, and then a car back behind her, I believe the 18 of Justin Spears might have got in.
Here's a look at the replay.
So he'd have been better off just spinning it there, and then he tries to keep it away from Mike Amato. And look at Kyler. Whoa! Man, he didn't flinch, did he?
Not a bit. Here's a look from our turn 1 camera.
Forget the car. Look at the kid in the yellow vest.
So there was the 56. And here's a look again from Jeff Christensen's camera. Left and right, he was working the wheel, couldn't catch up to the steering. Tail slaps the right rear. No damage there, just left some sparks.
Well, maybe a little bit of that push bar, but
very little. And then, boom, right there.
I mean, Tyler.
I guess
look at this
here's a
from
look.
college
Here we
kid.
go. He's on it. Oh, Nelly.
Oh,
What a great shot.